Welcome to CECH Chats, a podcast from the University of Cincinnati's College of Education, Criminal Justice, Human Services, and Information Technology. In this podcast, we speak with faculty about their ongoing research, chat with students about the work they do in CECH, learn from staff members about their important roles in the college, and more. Hi, I'm Rodney Wilson, Content Specialist for CECH. Today, CECH Chats welcomes Joe Johnson, Assistant Professor in the School of Information Technology and noted bat ecologist and conservationist. A Northeast native, Johnson first found his way to Ohio by way of Athens Ohio University, where he worked as an Assistant Professor of Ecology for 6 years. He joined the University of Cincinnati's School of Information Technology faculty in 2022, focusing on research that explores the intersection of technology and ecology. A graduate of the University of Kentucky's Animal Sciences PhD program, where he trained as a mammal ecologist and conservationist, Johnson performs research that covers a lot of ground, but remains connected to both conservation efforts and a better understanding of life history. His research topics have included bat populations affected by white nose syndrome, recovery of threatened species, bat population dynamics, and much more. In his current work, Johnson is seeking to create and employ IT solutions for wildlife conservation. In this episode of CECH Chats, Johnson tells us how he first developed his interest in bats and how his appreciation of flying mammals has deepened over the years. He shares about some of the cool technological products and solutions he's employing in his conservation research about bats. He also discusses some of the work being done by the Ohio Bat Lab, a research team he leads focused on mammal ecology and conservation, and he gives us a preview of the upcoming 4th annual Ohio Bat Fest, a free, all-ages event to celebrate our bat neighbors here in Southern Ohio. Thank you for joining us on CECH Chats today, Joe.
Thanks, Rodney. It's great to be here.
For starters, can you tell us about yourself? Just give us some background info.
Sure. Well, I currently am an assistant professor here in the School of IT at the University of Cincinnati, but I got here just like a lot of people do in their life, a pretty unique way. I was originally trained as an animal ecologist, and as my career and time went on, I became more interested in the tools that we use and the way in which we use them to produce the change that we want to see as conservationists. And so I've become really interested in the technological side of things and how we come up with solutions to fill our needs in the environmental realm.
And you came to UC by way of a few different places. I saw you earned your PhD at University of Kentucky, and you did some post-grad work at Bucknell in Pennsylvania. And before you joined UC, you were an assistant professor of vertebrate biology at Ohio University. Are you from the Cincinnati region? Are you from Kentucky?
I'm originally from Massachusetts,
Massachusetts,
actually.
okay.
And moved to Athens in 2016 with, probably what you would expect someone from the Northeast might think of Ohio, some pretty incorrect assumptions of what the state is like. I really loved my time living in Athens, and I really love my time living around Cincinnati. Southern Ohio has been a great thing for me, and I'm really happy to be here.
So, what brought you to UC? Was it a previous experience with Athens and you just wanted to come back, or was it the opportunity, a mixture of both?
Yeah, opportunities is what brought me to UC in Cincinnati. I enjoyed being a professor in a biology department, but one thing that I really embraced is how I am IT. So I have my We Are IT sweater on today, really to embody that, because one of the things that I'm most passionate about is creating solutions and applying solutions and having those solutions be evidence-based. And in the School of IT, and really in IT and in general, those solutions are really quite broad, right? They can be solutions for a smart home. They can be solutions for cybersecurity. I'm interested in solutions for animal conservation. And so I've been really fortunate to be in a place that really embraces that side of me that likes to create things and play with things, which has become a big passion of mine.
Yeah, and at first glance, an ecologist teaching in the School of IT does seem a bit curious. But tell me how you bring this IT knowledge to your study of bats, or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe you bring bat knowledge to IT instruction.
Yeah, one thing that's been pleasantly surprising for me since I joined the School of IT is how it really goes both ways. I really bring a lot of content knowledge in ecology to the classroom, to the students that I work with in research. But one thing that's been equally fulfilling is going the other way with the partners I have, say, in state wildlife organizations or federal, or just working with any one of my conservation partners and bringing to them the IT solutions that I'm really excited about. So I'll just give maybe one or two examples. I've got students right now working on a machine learning approach to identifying individual bats. And one thing that's really fun is I get to go to students and in IT and talk about how identifying individual bats is a thing that ecologists are really interested in. Why is that a thing? Well, bats can live like 40 years, and identifying individuals when we encounter them repeatedly helps us learn a lot about their natural history, their populations, and just get to geek out about how great bats are. But we don't have very good tools for that individual recognition because bats are so hard to get our hands on. They're so hard to see up close. And the current tools that we've been using for years, it turns out actually kind of hurt bats. We give them these individual bands or marks and those injure animals. But machine learning provides us with an opportunity to take photos of these animals and then to potentially re-identify them through successive photos over time. And students really have loved that. They're like, oh, wow, I didn't know any of this cool stuff about bats. They can live 40 years. And then conservation partners are just like, this machine learning stuff is wild. You can just have these algorithms that are identifying individuals based on these features. And boy, is it really fortunate to be in a position where I get to experience both sides of that excitement.
And you teach some traditional IT courses as well. What courses are you teaching this semester?
Yeah, right now I'm teaching a class in research methods. And so I teach that to the graduate students, mostly students in our MSIT program, but every once in a while it's students who are in the accelerated undergrad program or PhD students who maybe lack a master's. And that class is about teaching really the tip of the iceberg in terms of how do we study these solutions, these IT solutions, or how do we create IT solutions that fit the needs, right, of our human population, given the technology that we have available to us today. And that's a really fun thing to get to do, to get to tell or show students that we have a rigorous way of evaluating how people interact with technology, or a rigorous way to help design technologies that fill potential needs, as opposed to say, going with our gut. Not that there's anything wrong with going with our gut. We all have to do it to a certain extent, and sometimes that's an art form, but to be able to do things from an evidence-based approach and really getting students on board with evidence-based IT, just like we have evidence-based medicine, is a pretty fun class to teach.
And as a bat expert, I assume some of your bat knowledge also makes it into this class. Can you give us some examples of the way that you bring that expertise into this learning experience?
Yeah, so it is always a treat to show the IT students that, okay, maybe 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, we're talking about technology all the time. And then all of a sudden I share with them, it's almost like a confession. Oh, yeah, and my particular brand of IT is I'm interested in bats. And you see their looks, they're just like, what? What is going on with this guy who's interested in bats? And so it's fun to share with them the ways in which this works out in the real world. So case in point, I share with them a study of co-design where I worked with a local parks department who is trying to come up with a system, just a virtual system. We're still designing it, maybe like a website or a dashboard where visitors to a park that has a significant population of bats in this building where visitors might come in but never get to see the bats. But the park has gone through a lot of efforts to try to make a safe human environment, but then also in the same structure, a safe bat environment, and to really give visitors to that park an opportunity to engage with that wildlife in a safe and enjoyable way, because you normally wouldn't want to interact with the bat up close. You wouldn't want to go pick it up. You wouldn't want to go put your face in it. That's not safe for the wildlife. That's not always safe for the person. But we can design tools that would be fun for users and to get them on board with, well, okay, if as a scientist, I'm interested in trying to persuade in an honest way, not in a tricky way, but to persuade people into why bats are great. What do they do for us as human beings? Why are they just cool for the sake of bats are cool? And how could we engage with potential users of a system in order to make them or allow them to have fun with that system, allow them to want to keep coming back and keep engaging with that system. And whether or not you're interested in bats or whether or not you're interested in, designing a learning management system that's fun for students to log into every day and submit their homework assignments, we use the same basic technologies, or rather techniques, to really get at those questions.
Um, Backing up, I like bats. I have bats that fly through our backyard, and I like to sit out in the early evening and watch them just flutter between our yard and the neighbors' yards. It's cool. Um, but I don't think I like bats as much as you like bats. Can you tell me how you developed this interest that has shaped your career?
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of times people ask me questions and I don't really know where it started for me, but I really do know where it started for me. And it really goes back to when I was in college. I took a class in mammalogy, so that's just the study of mammals. And the professor who taught the class happened to be a bat scientist. And the way she taught the class was maybe the first half of the class is just talking about the general ecology, biology, physiology of mammals. And then the second half of the class is a march through the diversity of life, mammal life on Earth. And that's proportionate to the number of species. And there's more than 1,400 different species of bats. And so that means they're somewhere between 20 and 25% of mammal species. And the number always varies as we come up with new species, et cetera. But as a student of biology at that time, biologists really love diversity. It's kind of what draws us to the natural world, this idea that there are diverse solutions to being a plant or an animal or whatever it is, an organism on the planet. We're just really keen to learning about that. And when I learned for the first time that such a large proportion of this group of organisms that I belong to, mammals, is, predominantly, or not predominantly, but such a large proportion is bats, that blew my mind, right? And I wanted to know more about this phenomenally diverse group. And I learned that there's what I say a bat for everything. There's bats that eat bugs. We're familiar with that in Ohio. But in the grand scheme of things on the whole planet, there's bats that eat fish. There's bats that eat birds as they're migrating. They catch them out of the sky. There's bats that eat fruit. There's bats that pollinate plants. Yeah, there's not a bat for eating grass or leaves, but there's a bat for just about everything else. And that is the type of stuff that was really stuck with me for more than 20 years, is just the diverse solutions that bats have to life on Earth.
You run the Ohio Bat Lab, correct?
That is right.
Can you share with us what that is and how it came to be?
Yeah, so that's really just what I've called my research collective for the last, so I guess at this point, almost 10 years since I've lived in Ohio. At the moment, trying to codify that into a center here at the school that really focuses a little bit more broadly on ecology and information technology. But, at its core, what it is a group of like-minded people who are interested in studying and conserving bats. So that includes, myself, but it also includes includes any students and colleagues that work with me. Tonight, for example, I've got a student who's part of the lab, and she's going out to put a Bluetooth tag on a bat. We hope if she can go catch the one in question. And these Bluetooth tags are pretty revolutionary to us because they are attempting to transform this phenomenon we call the Internet of Things into the Internet of Wildlife. So that is the Internet of Things is pretty much just the internet of cellular connected devices. So if you have a smart fridge or a smart washer and dryer that's connected to the internet, it's part of the Internet of Things. And if that device also has Bluetooth, well, now anytime this bat with a transmitter flies by your Bluetooth cellular enabled washing machine without you knowing, your washing machine is going to record the location of that tag and it's going to send it to the internet. No personally identifiable information, just reporting on the identification of the device that it encountered. And this is really opening up the door for us to be able to learn a lot about how animals are moving right now during this fall migration period. So it's really just a very specific example of the type of work we do in our lab, which is really we are trying all the time to apply new technologies to old questions, old problems, and ecology. And where those technologies don't exist, we try to create them.
The Bat Lab kind of struck me as, if not unique, kind of special in that it seems very collaborative between different colleges, different schools. Obviously, you have some biology students on there, but you also have IT students on there. Can you speak to that, what that provides for students who might be participating in this research with you?
Yeah, really, where I fit in the School of IT is I'm part of the Civic Technology Lab, and that includes several faculty members in the School of IT with different, pretty diverse interests, ways in which they are studying information technology or applying information technology. And one thing that's been really great is stepping in to the Civic Tech Lab and having a group of students that I've historically referred to as the Bat Lab step in and get to meet these students who are interested in machine learning, who are interested in cybersecurity, interested in the Internet of Things. Is all of a sudden you put these people with diverse interests in a room together or diverse skill sets, and all of a sudden they're bouncing ideas off of each other and just like, oh, have you ever considered using this approach to answering your question? Or, really allowing us to revolutionize or not revolutionize. I think the word that I want to use is innovate, right? To innovate new solutions and new ways in which we look at problems, questions, and so forth. And having that diverse team has really been a huge strength of the team in the years since I've joined UC.
And the Bat Lab has its fourth annual Ohio Bat Fest coming up, correct?
Yes, so the Bat Fest is happening on October 25th. So that is, at the time of this recording, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. The Bat Fest was previously hosted by a colleague of mine at Ohio State. And so the first three Bat Fests were held in Columbus, but he's, moved to a new university and greener pastures outside of Ohio. And so we're going to try to keep the Bat Fest alive. We're moving it to Cincinnati, and we're going to try to, have a nice celebration about bats, about the technologies that we use to study bats here in just a short time.
All right, and what can people expect? What are some of the events and the activities that are taking place?
Yeah, so the Bat Fest is going to be most broadly, it's a celebration of bats. So next week is Bat Week. And so that is the time of year where we celebrate the diversity of bats. We celebrate what bats do for us as members of our ecological community. And so as part of Bat Week. Bat Fest is going to try and teach people about all those things that bats do for us in our communities, try and inspire people to look at them as good neighbors instead of something to be afraid of. And so we have a lot of pretty exciting, pretty fun, family-friendly activities for folks to bring their kids to, or if you're just interested in learning more, you don't have to be a kid to come to Bat Fest, but maybe bring some of that excitement to learn all about bats. And then we're also going to have a bunch of activities where you get to experience what it's like to be a bat ecologist and technology specialist. And so we're going to be showing off some of the tools that we create to help us with bat conservation. We'll be having some visuals about how we use machine learning to help identify bats, how we use technology like this Internet of Wildlife, like drones, how we are working with different community partners to create systems for bat appreciation and bat awareness. So we're going to be bringing different parts of the human community together, people who are involved in conservation, people who are involved in research, creating and applying technologies. And then we're going to be talking about our bat partners. We will have at least one bat there that will be coming to the events for people to meet and to see and try and really to illustrate for people up close and personal what's the nocturnal part of our community is like if they're not familiar with them. And so what we're going to be doing there is just having activities for really the whole family, from adults, young adult, kids, to be able to come out, to be able to learn about bats, meet a bat, learn about the people and the organizations who work in conserve bats, and get to have some experience with some of the tools, both traditional and some of the cool IT solutions that we've developed here in the School of IT for bat conservation.
For potential IT students considering UC for an education, whether that be undergrad work or graduate studies, what do you see as the value of professors such as yourself with varied interests and expertise in terms of their education?
So I think that's a great question. And here in the School of IT at UC, I think we do an exceptional job of really embracing how IT really connects a lot of different domains. It's really a multidisciplinary space. So we have faculty who are interested in applied AI and machine learning, faculty who are interested, like myself, in ecology, faculty who are interested in crisis and emergency response. And the great thing about having those different faculty members and more, that's just the first couple that came to mind, those faculty members is that students get to learn not only the tricks of the trade and the tools, but they get to see how they are applied not only by IT professionals, but they're applied in all of the domains that IT intersects with in our society, which is pretty much everything. We can really come up with these applied, especially today, we can come up with these applied IT solutions to help us do a number of different jobs better. And what a successful student can get in the School of IT is firsthand experience applying the tools that they learn in various different contexts. And that way, when they show up for a job interview or they end up in a job, they say, oh, I've seen these tools applied in these different contexts, and maybe I know how to approach this problem from a unique way. And all of a sudden, they are hopefully going out there and changing the world.
Hmm. All right, I have one last question for you, and I would like to know, what is your favorite bat fact?
I think my favorite, maybe not a fact, but just concept or thing about bats is just how much more like humans they are than most people appreciate. And what I mean by that is bats are long-lived social animals. So one species that I work with a lot is the little brown bat. The little brown bat can live that we know of at least about 40 years. We don't know their maximum lifespan, and that's in the wild. And during those 40 years, those bats formed strong social bonds. They have relatively few offspring, at most one per year, and they devote a lot of energy in to raising that offspring, not just from gestation and onward, but also teaching that bat how it is to be a bat, where to hunt, how to migrate. And in this way, bats are just a lot like us. They are very social animals who care about their friends and neighbors and family. And one thing that I'm particularly passionate about is trying to show bats to people using various different tools and solutions that we have available to us today. Because just like with so many other things in life, the more you can understand about the members of your community, I think the healthier community we have.
Joe, thank you so much for joining us today on CECH Chats. The Ohio Bat Fest is on October 25th from noon to 5 p.m. at the Maple Ridge Lodge in Cincinnati. It's free and open to all ages, and you can learn more at ohiobatlab.com.
Hey, thank you, Rodney. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to this episode of CECH Chats, a presentation of UC's College of Education, Criminal Justice, Human Services, and Information Technology's Marketing Department. CECH Chats is edited and produced by me, Rodney Wilson. To learn more about the college and its programs, visit us online at cech.uc.edu. While you're there, check out the CECH Headlines page for recent stories, past episodes of CECH Chats, and more. Until next time, thanks for joining us.